Alrighty, let's get started with a new episode of Market Targets. Let's see what the week has in store for us. I chose a total of 8 pairs that I'm going to be looking at for the week, and those pairs are going to be AUD NZD, AUD USD, AUD CAD, Euro CAD, CAD CHF, Euro CHF, Euro AUD, and NZD JPY. Those are the top pairs I am looking at for the week, and I'm gonna jump right into AUD NZD. So AUD NZD, last week I was looking for a short on this after the retracement was completed. It never gave me the entry signal I was looking for, so I did not enter. But it did cook up very nicely and retrace perfectly on the daily time frame in order to establish a short position this week. So let me see how the 4 hour is doing in order to get an entry on this pair. And right now, I will definitely need to be more patient on this pair. I'm going to for sure need for this structure point right here to get overtaken from a 4 hour candle and become a new higher high. And once that structure point gets overtaken, I will need it to then break structure under this point right here in order to enter this short. So right now, I am not going to be even looking at this pair for tonight because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be ready for tonight. Next up is AUD USD. So AUD USD, I want a short on it, but the short I want, it is going to be a patient short. So I'm not sure if it's going to be breaking under this support and resistance level and become a resistance under this one, or use resistance above this level right here and then go to the downside. So I'm going to be patient to see which one it decides to jump off of. And once it does jump off of it, to see if it gives me an entry signal on the smaller time frames. Next up is EuroCAD. EuroCAD, I wanted to bounce off this resistance level right here. And then I'm gonna move over to the 4 hour time frame. The 4 hour time frame is the main time frame I will look at first in order to see when it's going to want to retrace to this area right here. And once it does that, I'll look at the smaller time frames in order to catch an entry signal on the 30-minute or 1 hour. Next up is EuroCAD. So EuroCAD last week, I had wanted a long on, and at the beginning of the week, it decided to wick me out and then do the long I wanted to do for the week. So that sucked last week for me. But this week, I'm actually looking for a short. So since last week on the 4 hour, you saw that it completely broke structure and went below this area right here. Now I'm waiting for a retracement off this resistance, and once this resistance gets rejected, I'm going to look for an entry signal to go to the downside. So this one is probably going to be cooking up for tonight, maybe for tomorrow. Next up is CAD CHF. CAD CHF, let's go to the daily time frame. Daily time frame had a beautiful, beautiful support level last week get rejected, and now it's doing a little inverted head and shoulders. And that little inverted head and shoulders is cooking up very nicely for us to be looking for a long. So let's move over to the 4 hour time frame where I set a support level, a very nice support level right here, where I will just want to get more confirmation and rejection off of this support level in the next hours tonight in order to see if it does give me an entry signal on any of the other time frames. Time frames I will most likely be interested in looking at to enter this trade are either the 30-minute or the 1 hour. Next up is Euro CHF. Euro CHF, I'm also looking for a long on. And looking over to the daily did a great double bottom down here that I did not catch at all last week. But this double bottom did already go back and do the retracement it usually needs in order to keep that momentum to the upside. So right now, I'm just pretty much looking at the 4 hour to see if it does go above this area right here and does become support and rejects it. And if it does, I might be entering this long. Next up is Euro AUD. So Euro AUD is cooking up very nicely as well. If you look at the weekly, I say the weekly is just the most important time frame on this one. It's looking like it still needs more of a retracement. It wasn't enough, that candle that it did last week. So hopefully this week we get a bit more of a retracement to the upside, and that's the move that we'll be wanting to catch. And then I'll see here on the 4 hour. 4 hour, I have this area right here where it's looking like it's a great rejection level, but I would like to get more confirmation from the smaller time frames on this trade instead of the 4 hour. So I'll probably be looking at the 2 hour and 1 hour in order to enter this trade. I still feel like it needs a bit more structure in order to get me a good risk to reward. So for right now, I'm gonna let it just do its thing. And as soon as it does give me more structure where I see something cleaner in order to enter, I'll probably enter this long. Next up is NZD JPY. NZD JPY is right now bearish on the daily time frame, but if you go over to the weekly, it did a beautiful inverted head and shoulders and is retesting this support level on the daily. So right now, it is still giving me an indication that it does want to go to the upside, but I will wait to see how much of a rejection it does give me off of this support level, just in case it does want to get a rejection off of this support level instead. So right now, I will be patient on this one to see what structure builds up and what confirmation it gives me to go to the upside. Alrighty, so with that being said, those were the 8 pairs I am looking at for the week. So I'm pretty sure this week is going to be a very good week to trade, but patience is key this week. I honestly believe that. I don't think I might get any entries today on the first Monday candlestick, but if I do, I'm going to be make sure that the risk reward and everything makes sense just in case I do get a wick out at the beginning of the week and it does start my week off on a losing streak. So right now I'm going to be patient, make sure I get a good risk to reward, make sure my stop is going to be well executed in order to enter any of these pairs I just mentioned. With that being said, thank you guys for joining another episode of Market Targets and tune in for next week.